Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2021 horror comedy Bad Witch, a film that is directed by Victor Fink and Joshua Land, and it stars Chris Kalowski, Jackson Trent and James Hennigan, who I believe was also the writer of the film. Now this film focuses on Xander, who essentially is a male witch. Now we see him playing his trade at the beginning of the film, but it doesn't go down well with some locals. He's hunted down and branded basically as a witch, and has to do a runner. And he ends up staying with a friend at this new location, vows to give up his black magic, and befriends the local dweeb that works at the diner, which he ends up getting a job at as well, washing dishes, and together they kind of continue the black magic, and he ends up kind of teaching this dweeb Roland how to do spells and things like that. And as you could imagine, it doesn't end up going particularly well for either of them by the end of the film. Right, so what is my thoughts on Bad Witch? Well, this is a film that had quite a bit of potential, I think. Some areas kind of missed the mark for me with this one, but I really enjoyed the effort here. It's horror and comedy. I think is a difficult blend to get right, and I don't think it necessarily worked here. This film isn't scary. It does dabble a little bit with body horror, I suppose, and I think if they're not going to go down the scary route, I think they should have explored the body horror route a little bit more to make it a little bit gruesome and gory. And the comedy was very, very subtle, and almost non-existent. It didn't land for me, the comedy here. It was very, very subtle indeed, and and at times it almost felt satirical or something like that. They're almost doing a satire of the film The Craft or something like that. It was almost like, you know, that movie The Craft, but from a male perspective almost. And it seemed the film to have quite a bit of potential. Now, it's not a big budget film or anything like that. Clearly, it's got a small budget. And I do think they try and do the best with the budget that they've got here. And for the most part, I think they cast the film particularly well. I think Chris Kalowski as Xander, like this head witch, was okay in the film, actually. I thought he delivered a decent performance. Jackson Trent as Roland, like his understudy, was fine as well. You almost saw him as the dweeb at the beginning, and he kind of blossomed into this character with a lot more confidence and things like that, and, you know, questioning his morals at certain points in the film. But there were some other characters in the film where you felt like the performances were a little bit over the top. It was almost like they just plucked them out of drama school or the local drama school and said, we've got a part for you in this film, and they just kind of, it just felt a little bit over the top, some of the performances, and they tried maybe too hard, so therefore it didn't feel genuine, some of the performances in the film. And it's not really much more the film than what I've described. It's these two guys experimenting with spells, you know, trying to cover their own tracks and things like that at times, and other times just trying to have a bit of fun with some of the spells. And as you can imagine, there are points in the film where their experimentation goes drastically wrong, and then they've got to deal with the aftermath of a spell that goes really, really terribly wrong. But it all kind of gets fairly predictable at certain points in the film, and it never kind of takes many risks, the film, like that. And I think I could have forgiven it a little bit more, like I say, if it had have really dialed up the body horror, the gore, to land it more in a horror, or dialed up the comedy. You know, it just felt too subtle, that side of the film for me. Both sides, the horror and the comedy, it felt too subtle. to me. There was at no point in the film did I don't remember having a chuckle or a laugh or a giggle. But I could see that they were trying to at times have lighter moments. There's a scene in the film where there are some characters trying to decide the best way to kill a witch, and they have like a PowerPoint presentation that I guess was trying to be funny, but the situation they were in didn't feel funny, if you like, and it wasn't set up that way, so it didn't land. It just felt a bit odd. Which is, I think, is a real shame. I could see what they were going for here with this film, and it just kind of didn't land. They threw a few things at the screen, and it didn't land for the most part. But there's an undeniable charm here with this film. I'm not going to lie. I liked some of the performances. I liked the concept. It was a bit different. I liked the idea of some of the spells, and I mean, I suppose it was funny that you've got these people walking around with these spell books constantly, and they keep getting, just people just picking them up willy nilly and finding these spell books here and there. I suppose that was a bit of comedy, I suppose, maybe in the film. I don't know. I just feel like this film could have been so much more, and as it stands, it was a little bit of a disappointment because I think it could have been much better than it actually was. But I'm going to be a little bit calm with this one. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10 because, like I say, there is a definite charm here to this film, and I liked the attempt at doing something a little bit different. So yeah, I'm going to give this one a 5 out of 10. So that is my review for Bad Witch. I hope you liked it. Thank you very much for watching. I will be back, of course, with plenty more content on the channel very soon.